Alright, let's try to do it this way and see if I can answer some questions. As I was digging into a lot of this, the first thing I did was I went and looked at the comps that this appraiser used. So I wanted just a background knowledge of how did she approach this, because I know that you have tillable grounds. So 1168 East 1330th. Let's go over here. Right here. So this is an overview of the comp that she used over here for comp 1. Okay, so I'm going to slide that down there, and I'm going to email all this to you so you can print it off and look at it too on your desk. The next one is 1968, right there. So, and this one here is a pretty decent comp, I would say. It is surrounded by tillable grounds. But let's see, comp 2. Oh, this one here is a total of 2.2 acres. Alright, so let's get rid of that one. And then the next comp I wanted to see is over here at 400 Hickman Road, which is right here. Just a good aerial view. There's a lake right here, and there's really no use for tillable anywhere. So she basically did all of this for the use of all the outbuildings. Where to me, I'd say that tillable ground has a value versus if it's a wooded lot. So, okay, those are the 3 comps that she used, and you can pause it to look, take longer to look if you needed to. So that's where I started. Over here is where I did a CMA on the property. Now, granted, I have not been out in there to look at the property. All I had was what you sent me with those inside pictures. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. And so I'm going to say that this is a pretty accurate market analysis, but it's not a true market analysis because I have, again, not been out to the subject property. So over here, I found some comps. I did have to go back 2 years to find solds. She had to do the same thing. So again, you can slow this down, look at it, print it off. I also threw in a couple active properties that are currently on the market, like this here is one. And I chose it because it's in Plainville, just to give you an idea. These here have sold. Here, for an example, in Plainville, you can see it was listed at $205 and it sold for $187.5. I just wanted you to kind of see the variation that we get. Just because you put a higher price on something doesn't mean that's what it's worth. Let me scroll back up here a second. That was a good one. This one here is still on the market. You may know this one. This is the Huber Farm out off St. Anthony. They did have an auction a couple months ago. Split it up, I believe, into 5 or 6 different parcels. This here was just a farmhouse that was on the property. That buyer particularly went in, fixed it up a little bit, and put it back on the market. So, and this one here's in Lorraine, started at $169.9, ended up at $144. So I went through on my comps over here. You're going to see some adjustments. Now, I could have went more in depth on these adjustments as well because I didn't give a whole lot of value for the outbuildings because I tried to find comps that had them all offered. So therefore, they all had, in my opinion, the same value. And I got the aerial views, too, of them over there, so you can see them in a minute. When I did my comps, I gave an overall evaluation a value of $4,000 an acre. That is just a good overall average adjustment that I use that I feel comes in very accurate to what the property ends up selling for. And then I gave a $30 a square foot on the main level. Again, another average. The basement, I did adjustments for $10 a square foot in the basement. I'll go over that here in a minute because some of them I didn't give quite that much. So, and the next one is $4,000 for a bedroom. So you have a 3-bedroom. This one here, for example, is a 4 bedroom. So I would have taken off $4,000 for that bedroom. And then bathrooms, I always use it's $1,500 a hole, meaning the sink has a hole, the tub has a hole, and the toilet has a hole. So there's a $4,500 value for one full bath. Now, if it's a half a bath, it's of course just a $1,500 difference. So those are the numbers that I use to do my adjustments. Okay. So going through each property that I chose, because I wanted to be different than hers, I just wanted to give you a different overall market analysis and a different opinion here. I'm coming from the city, so I am looking at it more for the home itself. Looking at all of this, you'll see here too, I did not give any values for the garages. So we can still fluctuate a little bit, but I feel if we're going to give here, take there, it's still going to come out in the end of the day. So go slow, look over my comps, look over my adjustments. Here's some other ones, and then you will see for the home and the ground, we're almost there, is, while we're here, this is what's sold. So the red is the list price, the blue is what it's sold for. So keep that in mind all the time. And realtors don't put a property on the market, they don't overprice it just to come down to allow for negotiations. I do a CMA for all the properties that I get ready to put on the market. And it's just what I'm doing for you. It's just an overall market analysis to give you an idea what they should be selling for. But the true overall is what somebody is willing to pay for something. That's the true value. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, over here, these are all the comps used, these three here. This green, this is the subject low and the subject high property, okay? And when I say the subject low and high, it's coming in right here. So based on what I've seen in the research that I've done, I feel that this property is worth anywhere from $170 to $180. Okay, you know, I know that there may be more value to it because you have the surrounding ground, the tillable to it, but that is only valuable to you, only to you. Anybody else coming in and off the street, that is of no value to them. So I am thinking like the average public here. If you were to put this property on the market with what it sits at the 5 acres, 5.9 acres, I really truly feel based on the location, the age, the driveway, all that, you're looking at somebody's going to pay between $170 and $180 for that property. Okay. All right. So there's all mine, and then let's go and show you my comps here. So this one here, the 2000. Is right here. So I want you to compare this to the property you have. And when I look at this, yes, you'd have to put an easement down this driveway, if there isn't one already, to get to the farm ground. So this home here could do like what you're thinking of doing, is breaking off the house and then keeping this tillable ground with what's over here. So this is one of the comps that I used. And we got 516 East Center. Nope, I don't have that one printed. 1603 over here. And then let's see, so you pull in the drive, there's the house, the buildings, outbuildings. I know it's across the street here, but I felt as though if somebody wanted to, you could farm or till that acre of ground over here. And again, up here, it looks at some point like that may have been possibly tillable ground, but regardless, it's not woods. So I felt like that was a fairly good comp to use to do what you're wanting to do. And then 1870 right here. You know, this is more woods, but I felt, and I don't know how the roll of this ground is, so I don't know if it's feasible to put it into tillable or not. If it's, you know, a big hill or whatnot, I didn't get that in depth. But this farmer here could come over here and till this. So again, you could cut this house off and then have all this tillable possibly. So I used that one as a comp. 1700. This here, of course, you could cut the house off here and have this all timber or tillable, which it looks like it just about is. So you can kind of see, I think I have some pretty good comps here. This is that one on St. Anthony up here. that Huber Farms, and these blue lines, this is just approximate. I know that's not estimate. GIS has not updated their parcel map yet. So this here's the one out on St. Anthony Road that went to the auction. There's the farmhouse that's been updated. And this is 5-something acres. Don't know off the top of my head. Been looking at too many. But I do have a buyer that wants to come in and from over here, the edge of this driveway on straight back. They want to buy all of that and not this. So this is desirable, but she's wanting to add this ground over here to this ground and make it a bigger one and put the house right here. So not really for tillable for anything that you want to do, but give you an idea what I'm looking at here. And then over here, here's the other one that is active. This is currently on the market for basically $200,000. Just to let you see here, again, you could cut the house off here, or find the house, cut it off, keep the outbuildings with this, and turn all this into tillable. So I think looking at them from the GIS view helps a lot, so you can get an idea of what it is that we're looking at. So put that down there. Here's a couple screenshots. I just wanted to make sure that you take this into consideration and really just study it. All right, here's something, and again, I didn't pick up the phone and ask a couple of appraisers what they thought of this. I ran into this once when I was pricing a building on Broadway, where the seller wanted, I don't remember, let's just say $50,000 for the lot, plus $500,000 for the building. So in a sense, he wanted $550,000. Well, you can't count that ground twice, and that's what he did. You cannot count the ground twice where the building sits on. So it's not a $50,000 lot anymore, plus the price of the building. That's not how it works. It's looking like, to me, right here, the estimated site value, $6,000 an acre, times your acreage, is right here, okay? And then here's all the house itself, okay? So you add that over here. So there's your ground, there's your house, and that's how she came up with the $210,000. I would absolutely want to ask a few more questions to that, because I feel like that's the same scenario that I ran into with that building on Broadway. I feel like that ground's been added twice, because the home sits on part of that ground, so it's like you've added it twice. So when I look at it that way, and then I come down here to see that $170,000 figure, and ironically, at the end of the day, that's what I came up with over here on my CMA. I felt like the light bulb went off. So I'm pretty confident that I think my brain is where it needs to be at thinking between 170 and 180 based on this. And then over here, let's see, why did I clip this? Oh, okay, over here. Let me go find the actual, I don't need that screenshot no more because I made it easier. I just highlighted it. Over here, okay, so you have 5.9 acres. This comp here had 2.5, 2.2, this comp had 5. Okay, I just showed you that I used an overall $4,000 an acre adjustment when I did my adjustments for the comps. I don't quite understand this, but here she took off $1,500 to get it more comparable to yours, which that equaled $441 an acre when she did that. This one here, the 2.2 and you have 5.9, she gave you a $5,000 adjustment, but that boiled down to $1,351 per acre. Over here is your 5 acres, you have 5.9. She gave you the $4,500 adjustment. Well, that boils down to $5,000 per acre. So I'm uniform. I use $4,000 an acre for all these for the difference. And I am not going to sit here and say that she's right or wrong. I have no idea how she does her appraisals. I'm just trying to show you the difference for how I did it to come up with this versus how she did it to come up with her number, okay? The gross living area, you have 1,232 square feet. This one here is 1,446. she deducted off a $4,500 value because this one here had a couple hundred square feet more, which that boiled down to $21 per square foot. Fine. This one here, end of the day, it ended up being $20 per square foot difference. Over here was a $15.63 difference. So, and again, when I do mine, I use an average of $30. Okay. And then again over here, basements, I generally use $10 a square foot. I started to do that on your CMA, calculate the $10 a square foot, but then nowhere could I find how much square feet was finished in your basement. So, and I do know you have a walkout and 2 rooms finished down there, but so I just ultimately did not do a whole lot of that. So, but she did. This one here was $1 per square foot. This one here is $15 a square foot difference adjustment, and this one here is $27 adjustment. So, not uniform across the board in my opinion. I don't know why that she would be off so much that way. So take that into consideration as well. So I hope that helps. I don't think I've left anything out. Sorry it took me so long to get it done. I just kept running into things like this, so I kept questioning myself until I just started pulling all of these maps to start looking and go that route. So I'm now going to sign off. I will send you an email of all of this. If you have any questions, let me know.